Pizza Face, a dark school horror story. Some people are not broken in a single moment. Some people are worn down slowly, day by day, laugh by laugh, humiliation by humiliation, until there's almost nothing left inside them except silence. Arnold Voorhees was one of those people. He loved learning. He loved books, music, mathematics, science, history, anything that made the world feel bigger than the miserable little town he lived in. Knowledge gave him comfort. It gave him structure. It gave him meaning. But school was hell. Walnut Wood High, tucked away in the forgotten town of Old Fair Oaks, was the kind of place where cruelty passed as entertainment, where the strong sensed weakness like blood in water, where a quiet kid could become a target just for existing. And Arnold was the perfect target. He was thin, nervous, awkward, soft-spoken, the kind of boy who apologized when someone else bumped into him, the kind of boy who never fought back, the kind of boy people laughed at before he even opened his mouth. By senior year, Arnold had learned how to survive the only way he knew how. He stayed quiet. He kept his head down. He took the insults and kept moving. At home, things weren't much better. His parents barely noticed him unless he was in the way. His father's liquor cabinet became his escape. A few stolen drinks at night. A few more on days when school became too much to survive sober. He told himself the same thing over and over again. Just finish the year. Just get out. Just survive. And for a while, that was enough. The bullying never really stopped, but it faded into the background. Arnold became invisible, a ghost drifting through the halls, mocked now and then, especially for his acne, but mostly ignored. It was miserable, but it was stable. Until the cafeteria. It happened during second lunch, a Thursday. Almost the entire upper class was there. Arnold was carrying his tray, trying not to make eye contact with anyone, when Andrew Collins came up behind him. Andrew was one of those boys who peaked before graduation. Loud, reckless, cruel, and worshipped for it. The kind of guy teachers warned about in private and girls defended in public. Without warning, Andrew yanked Arnold's pants down in front of everyone. For 1 second, the cafeteria went completely still. Then the laughter started. Not giggling, not snickering. Laughter. Loud, explosive, merciless laughter. Arnold froze. His tray slipped from his hands. Food splattered across the floor. His backpack fell open. Books, binders, pencils, papers, everything spilled out around him. And then came the worst part. His underwear. Childish, embarrassing, the kind his mother still insisted on buying for him. Bright, cartoonish, impossible to defend. That was all the crowd needed. The insults came fast. "Nice underwear, loser. What are you, 5? Look at Pizza Face!" And then somebody repeated it. Pizza Face. A few kids laughed. Then another voice joined in. Then another. Then the whole cafeteria seemed to erupt into one horrible chant. Pizza Face! Pizza Face! Pizza Face! Arnold dropped to his knees, trying desperately to gather his things, but his hands were shaking too badly to hold anything. Every time he picked something up, something else slipped from his fingers. The more he fumbled, the louder they laughed. It felt like the whole room had turned into one giant mouth, grinning at him. When he finally managed to pull his pants up and stumble out of the cafeteria, he was crying so hard he could barely see where he was going. He ran all the way home. And in his bedroom, with his face buried in a pillow soaked through with tears, Arnold felt something inside him change. Not break, change. Something cold, something dark, something final. The next week, right before Thanksgiving break, Arnold made a terrible decision. He took his father's pistol. He wrapped it in a sweatshirt and placed it in his backpack. He walked into school carrying something heavier than metal: humiliation, hatred, despair. And for the first time in his life, Arnold wanted people to notice him. Really notice him. That Friday morning, Walnut Wood High was full of the usual holiday energy. Students were talking about travel plans, football games, family dinners, and the joy of having a whole week away from class. No one noticed Arnold standing in the hallway near the principal's office. No one noticed the way he was sweating, or how pale he looked, or how tightly he held the strap of his backpack. He had chosen the spot in advance. He knew exactly what he had planned. He could do it now. He could reach into the bag, pull the gun free, and change everything forever. But when the moment came, he couldn't move. His heart pounded so hard it made him dizzy. His hands went cold. His mouth dried out, and the world around him kept moving as if he weren't even there. Students walked past him. Teachers passed by. Lockers slammed. Shoes squeaked against the floor. Nobody saw him. Nobody looked twice. And that was when Arnold understood something that frightened him even more than his own thoughts. He hated them. But he was not a killer. He turned away. Without thinking, barely breathing, Arnold slipped into a small cleaning closet near the office. He needed somewhere dark, somewhere private, somewhere he could disappear until the shaking stopped. He stepped inside. The door swung shut behind him. And then, click, a lock. At first, Arnold didn't react. He leaned against the wall and cried, overwhelmed with relief. Relief that he had not done something irreversible. Relief that it was over. Relief that for one more day he had survived himself. Then, after a few minutes, he reached for the handle. It wouldn't turn. He tried again. Nothing. Harder. Still nothing. Arnold stared at the door. His relief vanished instantly. He threw himself against it. Again. 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 The metal shuddered, but it didn't open. He pounded on it with both fists, shouting for help until his voice turned hoarse. No answer. He grabbed his phone from his pocket. Dead battery. He stared at the blank screen, then hurled the phone against the tile floor hard enough to shatter it. Outside, the school day ended. Students left for the holiday. Teachers locked up classrooms. The halls emptied. And Arnold Voorhees remained trapped inside a janitor's closet. No one knew he was there. The first night was panic. The second was disbelief. By the third, time had stopped making sense. There was no window, no fresh air, no clock. Just shelves of chemicals, mop buckets, rags, cleaning supplies, and the thick metal door that refused to move no matter how hard he begged it to. He screamed until his throat felt torn open. He kicked until his legs gave out. He pounded until his hands blistered and split. And still, no one came. At home, his parents reported him missing. The police asked questions. A few classmates shrugged and guessed maybe he'd run away. Maybe he was hiding. Maybe he'd finally snapped. But nobody, not one person, thought to check the school. That realization hit Arnold harder than the hunger, harder than the thirst, harder than the cold. He could disappear for days, and no one knew him well enough to know where to look. By the fourth day, the closet no longer felt like a room. It felt alive. The darkness pressed in around him. The shelves creaked when he wasn't touching them. Pipes clicked in the walls like footsteps, and sometimes in the silence, Arnold could hear it. Laughter. At first he thought it was memory. Then he wasn't so sure. He heard them whispering through the vents. He heard Andrew Collins laughing just outside the door. He heard the chant from the cafeteria, soft at first, then louder, like it was circling him in the dark. Pizza face, pizza face, pizza face. Arnold covered his ears. It didn't help. When he drifted in and out of sleep, he had nightmares. He dreamed the closet walls were covered in school lockers, and behind every locker door was a face from school, grinning, staring, laughing with teeth that looked too big and eyes that looked too empty. He woke more than once, clawing at his own cheeks, convinced there was something under his skin. By the time Thanksgiving break was over, Arnold was no longer sure where the nightmares ended and reality began. Then Monday came. The janitor arrived early that morning. He noticed the smell first. Stale air, sweat, something sour and rotten underneath. He frowned, muttered to himself, and walked to the closet door. He unlocked it. And the moment that lock turned, the door burst open. Arnold stumbled out into the hallway like something dragged up from underground. He was pale, filthy, weak. His lips were cracked. His hands were swollen and bruised. His eyes looked wrong. Too wide, too hollow, like he had seen something in that darkness that had looked back. The janitor jumped back. A nearby teacher screamed. Arnold just stood there in the fluorescent light, blinking like he had forgotten what the world looked like. And then, from farther down the hall, students began arriving. Voices, laughter, lockers opening and shutting. Life moving on exactly as if nothing had happened, as if he had never vanished at all. One boy spotted him first. He smirked, and with that same casual cruelty only teenagers seemed capable of, he said, "Damn, Pizza Face looks like hell." A few others laughed. Just a few, but it was enough. Arnold turned slowly and looked at them. And then he laughed too. Not loudly, not wildly. Just a thin, broken little laugh that echoed down the hallway and made every person there go silent. Because there was something in that laugh that didn't sound human anymore. The principal approached carefully, suddenly gentle in the way adults become when they realize, too late, that they ignored something important. "Arnold," he said, "we're going to get you help." Arnold stared at him for a long time. Then he asked one question, very quietly. "Were you going to?" No one answered. No one could. And that was the beginning of the story. Not because Arnold attacked anyone, not because blood was spilled, but because something about those missing days and the way he looked when he came back and the sound of that laugh stayed with everyone who saw him. In the weeks that followed, Arnold never returned to Walnut Wood High. Some said he was sent away to recover. Some said he refused to speak. Some said he spent most of his time staring into mirrors, as if expecting to see someone else staring back. But the school changed after that. Students stopped joking near the cleaning closet. Teachers walked faster past that hallway. And the janitor, who had opened the door that morning, quit before Christmas. He never explained why. Over time, the story became a rumor, then a legend, and in old Fair Oaks, people still tell it. They say that if you walk the science hall after dark, when the school is empty and the fluorescent lights hum like insects, you can hear knocking from inside the old janitor's closet. 3 knocks, a pause, then a voice, soft, dry, almost too faint to hear. A voice that whispers, "Do you see me now?" Most people keep walking. But if you answer, if you stop, if you speak back, they say the closet door will slowly open, and standing inside will be a boy with hollow eyes, a cracked smile, and a face everyone once thought was funny. Only then, when it is already too late, will you remember his name. Arnold Voorhees. And you will understand something terrible. Some ghosts are not born from death. They are born from humiliation. And once they know you see them, they never let you look away.